operate without them. That's ridiculous. I know, I'm looking at my little camera there. I'm like, oh look, it's all purple and pink behind me. Today is going to be a slightly different stream. Every other stream so far has had a purpose, as in this is a lesson we've done with kids, or this is a thing we've done, or this is a setting that you can use, or whatever. Today is going to be purely experimental, because for the last 4 streams we've done renewable energies. We've done solar, biomass, wind and hydro to great effect. But we haven't been able to do algae, and we haven't been able to do tidal. When I say we haven't been able to, I mean I haven't done this in the past, and so I just want to do something experimental and kind of hang out a bit with you and see if we can do it. Because what we've been discovering as we've been doing these streams, and this is obviously one of the great things about using Minecraft, is that we get ideas as we go along. I'm like, oh, hang on a minute, I have an idea, and generally it works. So using a combination of the right environment, the right mechanics, structures, and some code, I actually think we could do tidal, and we may or may not be able to do algae. Modeling, of course, because algae doesn't exist in Minecraft. But we could pretend maybe fish are algae, or some sort of block status is algae. And the more algae we have, the more energy we have, something like that. I don't know, we're going to have a look at that. And I'm no expert, I was never trained as a coder, but in Minecraft I love using code, so let's see what we can do. So I'm going to head in straight away, we're going to click play, we're going to go to view my worlds and click new world, new. And then we're going to call this one, oh, I've done it again, renewable test. Yeah, kelp, so we could maybe do something, oh yeah, kelp, we could do something with kelp. So then we're going to do creative because we want to play, and good morning to everyone, good morning learning like a boss. I'm going to do peaceful because we don't need monsters. I wonder if monsters could be used as energy. What was that book where they used zombies as energy? Was it World War Z? And they got the zombies and they used them as energy. They used them to motor things. I can't remember how it was. Jungle vines. Yep, we could try that as well. So infinite, because we're going to need a nice infinite. Show coordinates is good practice. Code builder we're going to use always day, and perfect weather does it. Let's see what we get this time. And we've generally been bringing our villagers, whenever we find a villager, we've been bringing them our new way of thinking and our new inventions and things. Oh, look at this. Just the biome I needed. Although technically, I wanted to see if I can... I mean, an ocean biome's an ocean biome, but I was hoping that it would be a warm ocean. It's not. It's too blue. It's too dark. And it's just got this. And it's saying that if we're going to use algae, that's the way to do it. So you know what? We'll just... And we got some fish there as well. Hello, guys. Dun, 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 dun. Gold flash. Right. Okay. Howdy from Sydney, Bron. It's late at night for you again. Thank you so much for joining. We're just going to be experimenting today and seeing if we can do something with tidal. So if you have any ideas or any suggestions, or you think you know how this might work, give us a shout in that gorgeous Australian accent of yours. Well, obviously we won't hear the accent, but we'll imagine it when we read your messages. So let's go to... I mean, I've seen Mad Max. I know what Australia's all about. It must feel like that actually just now. Everywhere feels like Mad Max. We've actually got a windstorm today, so the wind is crazy. And bizarrely, there's still loads and loads of people out. And you know, it's this whole sort of like, you can go out for your exercise once a day and you can walk your dog or something like that. And it's like, great, we've got this big park in front of us, it's gorgeous, it's barren, it's this big flat space, and you think, awesome. If I wanted to go out there and there would be loads of space where I didn't actually, you know, I could move around and easily be 10 feet, 100 feet, 100 feet, 100 meters away from people. And somehow, when I look out my window, there are lots and lots and lots of people all gathered together, and they're passing each other within like a foot, and they're clapping each other's dogs and saying good morning and stuff, and I'm just like, and their kids are playing together, like they've just met, and it's like, oh, do you want to play football? Oh, look, there's little Andy from along the road. Oh, and they all go and play, and I'm watching from the window, and I'm just thinking, what is wrong with you people? There's an entire field there, and you're all in a 10 by 10 meter space, every day. It's just bizarre. And you're not telling me all those people live together. It's just bonkers. I just can't get it. I honestly don't get it. It's like and I don't know if it's, I mean, I would like to think Scots were different, but you know, I think it's a British thing. I think it's a British Isles thing. And I might be wrong. This might be going on in Austria. It might be going on in France. I don't know as well. But we just don't seem to get it through our British noggins. It's like, and I don't know if it's a stiff upper lip thing. It's just like, this is Britain. What's the worst that could happen? Or we'll get through it. Stiff upper lip. I don't know. It's bonkers. Anyway, enough about the virus. Let's go on to... let's get ourselves some... I'm going to get myself some blue glass. And what I want to do is I want to just practice something for a moment. And I'm going to get out here and I'm going to make it a... I just want to do this to sort of create a little area where I can experiment with the water first. Let's make it just this. Oops, wrong depth. There we are. So this is my little experimental area, and what I'll do is I'll take, just for sake of the... I'm going to take these coordinates. Wow, these coordinates are a bit odd. We're up in the thousands. 3180. 62, 59. So keeping with the theme, remember to keep it in mind that we are doing renewable energies. So we're trying to look at the different things that allow us to create renewable energies. And we've already used water with hydro, but that's just one type of renewable energy, right? I was learning a story recently, and this is the story of renewables all over. A colleague of mine invented a really remarkable handheld invention. I was able to see it. It was like a big turbine thing that you could hold. It was heavy, but you had two handles at the side and you could hold it. And you could go to any piece of coast, businesses who sat on the coast. I mean, there's one down in my hometown. It does like submarine stuff, and they could use it. They could have these attached that you kind of have permission to put them 6 foot out and 3 feet under or whatever. And this thing was driven by the slightest motion in the sea. But they were expensive to make. These handheld things were expensive to make. And so they went to the government and said, the British government, and said, this is what we've invented. You can draw energy from this. You don't have to be out in the sea where the tide is, you know, the underwater currents are really powering this stuff. You don't have to be 400 miles out. It's silent. Homeowners can own one. Businesses certainly can own one. And it was gazumped, if you like. They were just like, nah, not interested. And it's like, yeah, but it's only expensive now because we can't produce enough of them because there's not a demand, like an order from a government that says, actually, this is going to work. And they'd proven over like 4 years that it was generating more electricity. I think just one of these things, or two, was generating more electricity than this huge wind turbine that this sister company that they were partnered with had. And it was more consistent, and so on and so on and so on. And they just wouldn't do it. They were just like, yeah, we're not interested. We'll stick to what we've got. It's bizarre. I hear stories like that all the time. Here's this great new invention that's going to change the world. No, because it's too expensive. There's another guy in Scotland. This is a true story. There's another guy in Scotland who's discovered how to cure leukemia entirely. None of his experiments have failed. He can literally cure leukemia. And it's to do with stem cells. He has a machine that grows... He tests the blood and then he grows the stem cells that will then attack the leukemia. I can't remember exactly scientifically how it works, but it's phenomenal. And if you look at his data, it is fantastic. And again, he went to the British government and said, it's AI that he needs to do it, because the AI, he basically wants to build a robot which says, we're going to get this, and we're going to test this sample, then we're going to build the stem cells, and you have to grow the stem cells, and it was going to be grown in the chest of the robot, and so on. I mean, it sounds more fancy than it is. It was basically just a machine for that. And he went and he said, the only problem is it costs £300,000 per growth to be able to do it. So, you know, what's the cost of one life? 300,000 for one leukemia patient. Is that too much to pay? Is that a tiny amount to pay? Is there no price you wouldn't pay to save someone like that? So who knows? So he went to the British government and said, this is what I've got. And they were like, no, not interested. And he's now being funded by the Japanese. The Japanese stepped in and said, we'll fund that. We'll build that. You know what they like about robots. It's like, we'll build that. And they've entirely built it. And they're now running official tests with it. And it will be released on success in Japan. I'm just like, I can't honestly get my head around stuff like that. So when we're looking at renewable energies and inventions like this, we have to be able to talk to our kids about all of these sorts of options, because hydro is just one of them, right? Biomass is just one of them. And so I've taken these. I know that my experimental area currently is this. And what I'm actually going to do is, just as an idea for creating a tide, I had this idea last night. I've never created a tide yet. But what if we had a piece of code that gave us a tide? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the tide line, and I'm going to make the tide line 31806273, and that's the tide line. 318. Okay, so my tide line is basically this line here, and I'm going to try this. What I would need to do is block it off here, because I think the problem is it will overflow if I do what I think I'm going to do. So I'm going to create a slightly larger cage for it. There we go. I'm not sure if it's a particle accelerator. That sounds exciting though. It could well be. Now what we're going to do is, and that was because I was in the water, so I actually need to now go up one. So remember, I said that the level of the water that I'm at is 62, but I need to keep in mind that it's 63 I need to do to create my tide. So let's try this. Let's go into Code Builder and try a piece of code. Let's just start a new project, and let's call it Tidal. I'm going to keep repeating this as we go through, just in case anybody joins the stream and thinks, what is this guy doing? This is purely experimental. I have no idea what I'm doing. We're just trying together to use code and Minecraft mechanics, because I've got another idea for using dispensers. And in fact, I've got a brilliant idea for using dispensers, but I just don't know exactly what it's going to do. So let's try this. Blocks, fill with water, and then we need world coordinates. So we're going to get world and world. Okay, and we're going to say that was 318963, and we're going to go 318063 73. Of course, it's the same line. And then I'm just going to do tide. Now let's see what happens if I run this. Let's just also move my agent. So let's just do, remember how we move agent? We do on chat command H for here, agent, teleport to player. That's it. So there we go. So he's moved a little closer, so I can now see my experiment. So let's run tide. Oh, yeah, I got my coordinates. Look at that. It goes all the way over there. And you can't undo that. So I've done something wrong with my code. Dun, dun, dun. So I'm just going to do that. Oops. And I'll just take it over to here to get rid of it. That'll do. That'll fix it for that. So there's what happens if you get the code wrong, and there's no undo. And so I'm going to go and check my code again. What did I say this was? This was 3189. What did I do? Oh, 3789. So we've done 600 in the opposite direction. 3189. There we are. Press play. So what's happened is it's raised the water, but it hasn't done what I thought it was going to do, which was push the water in. Let's try it again. Tide. That hasn't worked. So I'm going to get rid of that. I think you can see the theory that I'm thinking of, and it's just the mechanics of Minecraft that's not working. If I do tide, the water has risen, but it doesn't run. I wonder if I was to do it too high instead. Maybe we could just have slightly... I'm trying to create a wave machine, basically. And if I can create a wave machine, I can do a detect for. And with a detect for, we can create electricity. Or we can create a condition that is detect for. So let's go back to our code and do 64, play. And then let's try that. Tide. Ah. No, it is not running. Look at that in the sea. What's that? Down here. I see something. See what I did there? It's a cave. I knew it. I knew I could see something. Anyway, let's get back. See how easily distracted I am. So why is that not running? Would it run if I just put water there myself? What happens when I just put water there myself? It runs a bit. It still only runs to here though. See that? Okay. I've got another idea then. If we take this to 65, what's that? So that's 72, 71, 70, all the way to, let's go to 59. I'm just gonna, let's go all the way to 59. So we're just gonna, now I'm just gonna fake it, and I'm gonna do, that should be 63. We're just gonna do 63. And again, I don't think you can replace water with air, so this is maybe not going to work. Yeah, maybe I do need stairs. Let me try that first, actually. That's a good point. So somebody suggested I use stairs. I don't think that will work though. Let's try some. We don't have blue stairs, so we'll just try these for almost coral-like stairs. Would you put it there? But then that's where the water's going to be. So let's try there and see if that works. No, it just sits on top of them as if they were an ordinary block. Nice try though. Let's try another one. Do your idea on dry land. Yeah, well that works. I would get that would work. So what would that be? So what we would do is we would change that to 39, 39. And then we would do, where's 40? Actually, that's not, I'm going to have to raise it up a bit, so I'm going to have to do 69 as well. So 69, 69. And then we're going to go to 40, which is here, and we're just going to do that. Oops, happened over there. It runs downhill. But it doesn't. Let's just check. So it works downhill, but it doesn't for some reason work flat. And that's clearly an issue. Oh, there we go. So why is it not work? Is that just because it hits water and therefore goes... That's not going to work then, because I need it to look as if it's the sea. And so... Okay, I have another idea. It just means for a longer animation. And the animation itself is fine because we're just causing... not that any of this matters, but I like to put the land back to how it was. Green cross code and all that. No, that's not green cross code. Country code. That's it. Okay, let's just get rid of this. And I'm just going to give ourselves a little bit more of a beach. Right, that'll do. That's a nice beach. I would want to go to that beach. Look at that. Right, so let's see if we can get our animation working. We're just going to go back to, what was our original? It was 62. 63, 63. And then it was... 73. 3180. Let me just double check because I've written those down a bit odd there. So yeah, 73. Yeah, it is. Right, okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to repeat this and just make it 72. And then repeat again. 71. And actually, do you want to know a really quick way of doing this? Here's a nice little hint. Let's go to math and see if we can work this out. We're going to take see, I'm thinking what we could have done was 73 take away, but we'd still have to change a number. So there's no way of automating that unless you set up a variable. And that variable would have to be set number. So let's try that. Let's go variable, make a variable, first tide. Let's just call that first tide. So the first thing we want to do is set first tide to, and then we're going to go world coordinates. And I need actually to do something else. I need that's not going to let me do that. It's not going to let me set a range. Why is that not going to let me set a range? Even this one is that coordinate plus that coordinate, which is not very handy. Help. Let's have a look and see what this actually means. Eventually I'll forever look this for sure, but add two positions together and create a new position. The two positions can be any type, relative or world, but the sum, the result, so it's 222 to me plus 333 gives, God, that's complicated. Why would you use that? I mean, I'm sure somebody somewhere is going to go, oh, I know, this is when you'd use that, but I couldn't. Has the same type as the first position. Make sure the type of the first position is what you want your add to make. So that will create the relative position of 222. Notice that the second position is a world position. Okay. World 555. So it's, yeah. Okay. All right. Parameters. So that's not what I want. I definitely don't want that. Let's go back into positions. Set first tide to... Well, I'll tell you what. Let's... I'm just going to... We're going to move to the other one. How do I get rid of help? around. Oh yeah, go back. Oh no, how do I get rid of that window? I've no idea. What did I do with that position? Right click. Help. Help's open. Help me close help. Oh, there it is. Look, there's that wee button there. Okay, right. So we're going to do this one. We're just going to call it Tide 2, just simply because I want to make this I want to see if this would work. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this 3189, 3189. We're just going to make this one block, 6373, and we'll get rid of those two for the moment. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Minecraft, and I'm just going to create a smaller experimental area. So we'll do, oops, and then we'll do this one. So right now we're only working in this little bar here. Yeah, we're only going to work in here, which is what I thought it was, which is, yeah, 6373, right. So set first tide, which is our variable, to this location. Then we're going to work on this one. We're going to do fill with water from 3189 63, and then we're going to go into variables, and we're going to do change first tide by, and because that doesn't make sense, it would have to be, the reason it's saying that is because, yeah, well, I'm going to have to go into maths, I think. I'm going to maths and say, let's get ourselves a world coordinate. Oh, we're not allowed that in there. Why does it think that's not going to work? Operator cannot be applied to types position and 1. Yeah, so it's saying this is a position, this is only 1, but it then won't let me put that in. Set first tide to this position. See if my variables give me anything else. I don't want to do just a set, I basically want it to automate because I want to stick it in a loop. And it should just be looped. So there should be an option to change my variable. And I know that's not going to work. And there's no, I mean, you can't put maths in there because it's the same problem. You have to be able to put, hang on, what if I put that in? And that? That's not going to work. For index from 0 to 4. Sorry, help me out, room 117, if you know. You mean if I go into arrays? Do you mean to take an array? Set because we could make each of the tidal points part of an array. If we do set, let me just try this. First tide to an array of that, then that, except this would have to be 74, then an array of, no, not 74, 72, because we're going backwards, right? 72, 71. That means setting up an array though, which is, that's what I was trying to avoid doing this in the first place. What I'm basically trying to do is find a way of automating this number as a minus. Just take away 1 every time from world location. So I want to basically say, if anybody knows how to do this, set first tide to this location and then fill with this. And then at the first location, fill if I go into... In this case, we don't need fill, we just need water. So we just need to fill water in one space, so I'm just going to put that there. I'm confused. I don't understand. It's for a loop. It's a for loop, and then you have to range for the y value. Have the range for the y. So you thinking I need to go into a loop? Oh yeah. For index from 0 to 4, do this. Is that what you're talking about? Help me out. Let's do this. I mean, I'll do it. For, but where's my index? What is my index? Is that my index? No. And that's not going to work either. I haven't used this before. For index, how do I set an index? Why does it... Oh, right, I put that in there and then do first tide. Okay, got it, right. For first tide from 0 to 4. But I don't understand why the 0's solid. Is there another way of doing that? Is there another loop? For index from 0 to 4. What would the 0 to 4 be? Do I need to set... I'm stuck with what the 0 to 4 is. Help me out with that. And I know you're saying 63 to 67, but I don't know how to make this value 63 to 67. It wouldn't be 63, it would be 73 to, in our case, 59. Let me pull that aside for the moment. Right. How's this? Set first tide to world this location. Place water at first tide. So what we're saying is, this is your first tide location. Place water at your first tide. Let's try that. Then we're going to change first tide by... It's still not going to let me do that. It still thinks... Position and 1. 73 is the first number. So you saying when this is in room 117, when this is in, 0 is already the first. I honestly think that's way too complicated for what I'm trying to do. Set first tide to this. Place water at first tide. Then it increments. If I use this, so you're saying go back to this. For first tide from 0 to 4. Do what? What would you suggest goes in the do section? I'll clean this up a bit because I don't know if we need all of this. Because an array would work, right? But I don't necessarily want it to have an array. And then I don't understand. But there has to be a way of doing it, right? There has to be a way that says in a simple piece of code or a small piece of code, maybe not simple, but a simple piece of code, start a wave here and ripple it. Like that has to be doable. I just don't know how. Set first tide to this location. type 0 is not assignable to type position, so it knows. It automatically knows that. I think that my first issue is that I'm setting it as set first tide to this location. I'm annoyed with myself though, because I've done this before for something that I did for Phygital Labs, and I can't now remember how I did it. Set first tide to world location. Then place water at first tide. I'm going to try that, right? I'm just going to try that. So when we type tide 2, water appears. Look at that. So we've got a piece of code that actually works. We just don't know what to do with it next. Although I suspect Room 117 does and is probably getting really frustrated watching me. Set first tide to that location and then place water. We know that works. Then, what's happening in variables? Change first tide by 1. That's going to give me I can't do it because it can't be applied to a position. And if we do, it doesn't matter if we do math. What if we apply the maths first? No, because that wouldn't work either. Man, I'm just going to give this up for the moment because this is going to eat up the whole stream. And we're going to go back to what we were doing, and that's okay, because I think we just need to, I just wanted to automate this. I basically wanted to do fill with water from this location to this location, then minus this location, whatever this is, by 1. Oh, no. Hang on a minute. I've got it. I've got it. Set first tide to 73. Room 117 is probably going, yes! Yes! Finally! The penny drops. Okay, set first tide to 73. Fill with water at, and then we need to put first tide in there. That's what we need to do. First tide is just a single number, which is then applied to the coordinate, rather than the coordinate being applied to the first tide. At which point, we then take these out and we go change first tide by, and then we do maths. I love it when it finally works. And that is, hang on. I just need it to be -1. Maybe we just need -1 in there. Maybe we don't need a maths at all. Change first tide by -1. Which means the next change first tide by, because it needs to be -1 because we're going backwards. The numbers, because of the way I've orientated the tide's going backwards. And then we need to loop that. We want to do that. Let's try it. Let's just see if we've done it. We're going to loop this by 5, just to try it out. Press play. So now, oops, we could not run your code. Please check why. Oh, that was that one. I just need to break that down. That's fine. Play. There we are. So let's try this. Tide. Yeah! Right. A decrement. Right. Okay. And we did it across the whole thing because I did the whole location rather than just working on one. So that's good. God. Next stop. I'll be coding for Microsoft. Watch me. I'll be headhunted at this rate. Some major coding organisation are going to come along and go, hey son, we liked what you did there. Come work for us. So let's loop this 10 times. And actually, what I do want to do is set up a clear command. So I'm just going to take this one and just call that clear. I'm going to get rid of all of this because my workspace is getting messy. So there we are. We used a variable. I'm really pleased with that. I don't use variables very often. In fact, I remember when I first saw this, I was like, what is a variable? And I called a few people to find out what variables were. And now we're using them. So we're going to clear, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear. And now I'm not sure if this works. And so I've got a workaround, but it's not ideal because air, I don't think, clears water. And we can get rid of that, and we can just go from 63 to 10. Let's just try that. Oh, it did. Clear works. It did get rid of water. So that's good. We can clear floods. Right, so let's try tide again. Oh, we have a tide coming in. So technically we need to do it 1, 2, 3, 4 more. Let's see if this works. So let's go tide loop 14 times, and we're going to clear this 59. Clear and tide. Whoosh. Oh, I need it one more, and then it'll do what you said earlier, which is about room 117, which is about doing it on flat ground, I think. Or was that was learning like a boss said that. Okay, so let's take this to 15 times, and then let's take this to 58. And what we should end up with, to be honest with you, I don't need it to hit the beach. I just need it to clear, and then oh, ho, ho. I'm speechless. I'm actually speechless. Okay, but here's the thing. I actually want to... I don't want a clear command. I want to take this and I want to repeat then I want to do set first tide to here, then repeat air 15 times, exactly the same. And that is on. So let me see if this works. Let me put in a nested loop. Let's just put all of this in a forever loop, because I think we've got it. If I put this in a forever loop, it means when I press play, we should end up with a tide. It's not just me, is it? I'm not the only one who's amazed by this. What a great Thursday so far. So we've got a tide. We've got a wave that comes in and whooshes in, and we could, with time, we could make it tidal, as in quite literally the waves don't go on forever. They only go on for. So here's what we could do. That's cool, right? We've made the sea. So we could do a forever loop, but going back to our, remember I like my little maths things, what I could do is I could do a loop at the end, and we could do pause for random time of 1 second to, actually tides aren't random, that's the thing. Tides are set, that's the point. They're set every 6 hours, so we could do it every 6 seconds. So pause for 6 seconds. So we get our loop, then it pauses for 6 seconds, then we should get our tide again. So then we get our tide coming in. Oh, no, I know what I've done wrong. Yeah, so we should be we should be setting that, repeating 15 times, setting that, repeating 15 times, then pausing for 6 seconds, then starting again. I do love that random time. Why is this only happening once then? Let's troubleshoot this next piece. So 1, and then it stops for 6 seconds, then it does it once again. Oh, I know why. I think that has to be separate somehow. So set first tide 73. Repeat 15 times the tide going in. Oh, and then waiting for 6 seconds. And actually it doesn't matter. We don't repeat that. We don't need repeat. Am I right in saying that we don't need these anymore? I think we just need because I was doing it 15 times, but we got it in a forever loop now, so we don't need loops. So we set the first tide, we fill with water from to first tide. We change first tide by 1. Oh no, and then we fill with air. That's not going to make sense. We do need... How does it know? Hang on, I've got lost in my own... Oh yeah, 73 to 63. So that's okay. So let's try that. Let's try forever loop. No, it's only doing it at the 1. So I've done something. We do need those. We do need those. And we do need those. I am, Barry, I am. I'm thinking, Barry's saying, are you now thinking comparators to generate power from your tidal lagoon? My new favourite surf spot. Well, yeah, but we need to do a detect for first because it needs to detect the motion of the ocean. So, but what I'm trying to work out is where do we put the timer? I think the timer goes outside of our loops, not inside. But I think I did that last time, didn't I? Let's try that. Maybe I had it in the wrong place. We'll try it again. Nope, we've broken it. We've broken the sea. Ah, man. Right, okay. What did we do? Take that out. Oh, I know what we did. That's not supposed to be there. That's supposed to be there. Because they're two separate loops. That's all. And then put that there. There. That needs to go in there. Because it's after it's cleared, we pause it for 6 seconds. So that was it. No, 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 no. That's not making sense at all. Let me take the timer out. It's the pause that's causing the problem. Because now we should end up with... Oh no. I've ended up really breaking it. Okay. Let's just stop. I had it. I can't believe I had it working and now it doesn't work. That is separate. That's it. That's it. But it's still stopping up there. Why is it still stopping up there? Repeat 15 times. Fill world from... Oh, that's, I know why. It's because that's 73. No. 63. First tide. What have I done? Somebody help me. I'm now lost. I'm lost again. This happens to me constantly with code. I think I need to do that. Is that not what we had before? I think that's what we had before. Let's just try it. Why is the air not kicking in? Repeat 15 times. Do fill with air from this location, first tide. Ah, I know. I've got rid of that one. I don't know why, but I got rid of that. There we are. That's it. Okay, now we're going to see it work. There we go. Right, okay. So we've got our tide working again. And I'm just going to fill up the beach. Just, oops. But I need to do a detect for, because I want the detect for, I want to be able to detect water. Right, I'm really happy that we got that far and then almost broke it and then got that far again. That's fab. Well done everyone, by the way. Well done, and thanks for everyone's suggestions of help. Room 116, I know you technically know this stuff way better than me. You should do a live stream. And you should call it Room 116. And then people would visit Room 116 digitally. This mysterious, amazing place. There we go. There's our little beach. Let's just have... There we go, that's our little beach. And then we'll just... Okay, welcome to the beach. I love that. I could just watch that all day. So now what we're going to do, do catch up on it. Paul Watkins is with us from Facebook. Do catch up on it because we've just been experimenting and playing and trying and troubleshooting, and we've made a tidal machine. So we have a beach which has a tide. It's just fantastic. So now what I want to do is I want to take a location here. And it doesn't really, I'm just going to make it the beach just so that we can, well actually let's just make it any location, but it has to be one of the higher locations. So it has to be 63. So I'm just going to make it right in the middle here. And I'm going to make it 3185 63 62. 3185 63 62. Come on, get the power going. Aye, all right, Barry, all right. Calm down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do C, and I'm going to do player test for. So we need a piece of logic in here, and the logic needs to be if test for water at, and I'm just going to put in world locations, so I'll just copy and paste these ones. And I'll explain my logic in a second, but it's 3185, because we're doing it relatively in the middle. 63, 62. If then, and this needs to be running in a second forever loop. So let's do a second forever loop. If test for water at this location, then we're going to place a redstone block at, let's go get a location. Oh, that's because it's doing my location. Because I'm running on another forever loop. Okay, so let's take that out. Let's unlock that and go back and just get a location we need. So let's have a location here. So this, our location for our forever loop is, for our redstone, is 3185 69 38. That's going to be that one. Yeah, there. At which point I would like a redstone lamp, because we always test our electricity with a redstone lamp. So let's try that. Let's go into here and say, as long as we've got a tide. Oh, it's because it's still doing it on my location. Look, that's me being a tube. Let's 318569 and 38. Debug, debug, debug. Right. There we are. So we get electricity as long as we have a tide. If we don't have a tide, say that the tide has calmed down, and this is what I was trying to work out earlier, is how do we work out the tide? I'm waiting on Barry giving me a boom. And so what we need is to work out how to stop the tide intermittently, and I made a mistake of adding a timer to the end of, say, 3 seconds, and when I press play, like, oh no, of course, what I then need to do is if test for or else place air at. You need an if else. So the logic in this one is if there's water, make a redstone block. If there's not, make air. So let's try that. So there we go. We've lost it, but when the tide starts again, which it should shortly, there we go. Ah, but then it stopped. Oh no, it doesn't. 3 seconds. That's not working. Oh. Hang on. Why is that not working? Because we are getting water there. We're just not getting it quick enough. I think it's because of the pause. The pause needs to be outside of this. And you can't put a forever loop inside a forever. So what am I doing? So when it gets to the end of this, it needs to pause for 3 seconds. 6 seconds. And maybe I need to up this to 20 times. Let's make these 20 times. Maybe it's just that it's not consistent enough. So there we have water, but we're now not getting. Here's our 6 seconds. Oh, there we go. Right. So we did get it. It just needed to be longer. It needed to be longer. So we get water whenever there's a tide. I just don't. And the problem is every time I do a longer loop, I extend the beach because we've got this minus thing. So what I have to do is find a way of going to repeat 20 times. And what if I took the pause to here? So what we would end up with is we end up with water because the tide is in, the tide is up. And then after 6 seconds, the tide goes out and we've no water. And then the tide comes in and we get electricity. So yeah, so I've got I'm at a bit of an we're at a bit of a we're struggling now because what we've got is we've got the tide is in, i.e. this is actually more of a hydropower, this is more of a hydro dam model because what we've done is we've raised the water level and therefore given us electricity. So this could be applied to the hydro dam. But the whole point of tidal is that it moves, it's the motion of the ocean. So our first model was better, but it didn't capture regular electricity. So I'm trying to think, detecting water is great, but how do we detect motion? That's the point. How do we detect motion? And the only way I could think to do that, the only way I can think to detect motion is if we did a logic gate that said, if test for, and I'm just going to do this in the air somewhere, we'll do gold, a while loop, while true, and that would just be, yes, room 117. So we would do while, hang on, I've got two things going through my head now. So we would need a while water is located. So instead of just a standard if then, it would be a while test for water at this location is true. Then place redstone. Otherwise, oh, we don't get an else on that one. It's just a while. While test for water, then place that. We don't need an else. Yeah, but I need to be able to remove it. So I do need an if. Test for if false. Can I put a while loop inside an if then statement? If true, while test for water is there, place this, or else place air. Do you think that's going to work? Right, there's our... No, we're not getting air when there's no water there. So that's not working. That seemed an awfully convoluted way of doing code. Let's look at this again. I also don't like the idea that the timer is in there. I think I'm just going to go back to what we had. So let's try that again. I don't like the extra timer. So there's our... But we're not getting air when we don't have water in that location. So Sequa, my favorite Android. What I'm trying, welcome and good afternoon. What I'm trying to do, Sequa, is I'm trying to make a tide. So you see the tide's going in. And if I did it properly, the tide would go back out. But at the moment, it just floods in, then it floods back out, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It's meant to create like a wave. And then what I'm trying to do is when water is detected here at this level, like now, we get redstone. And when there is no water at that level, we get air. So you'll notice there's air there just now, but when the tide comes in, we get redstone. And we did have it working. We did have it so that when if I took this out and put that in, what we now get is we get redstone, and when it goes away, we don't. So tide comes in, we get redstone. Go, go, go. There we go. Tide comes in, we get redstone. Tide goes out, we don't. But what I need it to do, so here's what I'm really trying to do, Sequa, is I'm trying to work out that as long as the ocean is moving like that, and actually I'm going to take the timer out, because if I take this timer out, you'll see how it really works. Basically, as the tide comes in, we get redstone, and we somewhat consistently get redstone, because the waves are detecting. The waves are, yeah. The waves are, or sorry, it's detecting the waves and saying, all right, I can give you energy because this is moving. But what it's not doing is it's not moving quick enough. The only other thing we could do is here, let's just create another piece of beach. And then in here, that's actually really nice. We put a cauldron. Oops. And then we put a cauldron in here, which fills, let me just see when that dries, does it fill with water? Yes. And then it's from this cauldron that we put a comparator. The only problem is then how do we, when does the cauldron get drained? And how do we stop the water? There we go. So that's how we stop the water from getting in to our, there's our comparator. Okay, and then I'm going to take some redstone. Since I've learned what the comparator does, well, half does, apparently they're really complex and they do loads and loads of cool stuff. And we'll get our light in there. Right, so we get a light, let me just get a bucket so I can empty this. So our light goes out until the tide comes in. The problem is I want to do detect for water. So what I could do is whenever there's no water, so when the tide stops, replace the cauldron. That's what we're going to do. So let me get the location of the cauldron. So the cauldron is 2 below this, so it's 62. So the cauldron is 3185 62 52. Sequa, are you able to set water with subides? What's that? If you are trying to make it simulate waves, if setting non-source blocks, then it would slowly drain shortly after it's passing by. So what you're trying to after, and it's kind of fair, are you trying to, yeah, basically I want it to fill, I want the tide to create a condition that when the waves are moving, i.e. the tide is coming in, we get energy. When the tide is not in, we don't get energy, I suppose, is what I'm trying to do. Let me try this. It's turning into a long but very interesting thing. And what I think I want to do, that looks really good because the water bounces back. I'm just happy that we made this, even if we don't get it working. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to do pause for 6 seconds and then place, and I'm going to see if we can place a cauldron. We can, at, and we're going to give it 3185 62 52. Pause for another 3 seconds, then try again. And I've just realised what I need to do. I've just realised I need to put another nested loop in here and do this 5 times. I'm missing the number of times that this gets nested. That's what it is. It's there. Right, let's try this. Whew. Yeah, observer blocks might do that, Adam. I will confess I have never ever used an observer block. I don't know what it does. So any help would be greatly appreciated. And actually, Adam, you're with me this afternoon, aren't you? Or was it meant to be this one? Dun, dun, dun. Was it meant to be this one, Adam? I don't believe it. If it was, I'm sorry. Oh no. Yeah, that's not meant to happen. I've got rid of my whole beach. So let's stop that. Why did it repeat 5 times, repeat 20 times? Oh, I don't think I need that quite so far this time then. We only need to do 10. Adam, I'm so sorry. I thought it was this afternoon. I was like, oh, Adam's with me later on this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, if Adam's up for it, he's going to be with me either this afternoon or tomorrow. No, later is good. Okay, let's do 6 o'clock. Adam's going to be with me at 6 o'clock. And we're going to do a really nice piece together on block bench skin making. I've totally ruined this thing though. Look at this. So let me go back before I'm going to take out that extra repeat. And we're going to go back to where we were. And then I'm just going to fix the beach real quick. Because my redstone's now bust. And I need I'm just going to get rid of this. Right, okay, that'll do. I'll just build this up to here and we can see what it looks like. I'm pretty annoyed that I can't get it to... Where's my... Right, there it is there. And I basically need to run the code up to where I'm allowed to run it to. So I'm just going to do that and then I'm going to go and run the code. And that should get rid of the water for me. Why did that not get rid of the water? Oh, I know why, because I didn't do this 20 times. Okay, so that's good. And then I'm going to read your comments because I know that you've helped me with observer blocks. So let's just run that and let it... There we go. So that's our beach back. That's good. And I want my redstone to go I've already got redstone, so that's good. Okay, so there, there, and there. And then if I do this, we should end up... There we go. Ah, see, I needed to protect that there. And so we're just going to keep running it. So now we've got power. And we've got a full... And then we're going to empty and the light's going to go out. So what I've done is I've created... When the wave starts, it fills up the cauldron, which then gives us... We've filled up the cauldron and therefore we've got energy for the time. And then the tide goes out and we lose the power. And then the tide comes in again. And we get power. So that's another way of doing it. It's a different model than the one we had before, but it's just another way of doing it. Let me just get rid of this. So let's have a look and see if we can work out what an observer block is. There we go. And we can just get rid of that now because it doesn't really matter. It's a nice beach. Okay, observer blocks are good and bad. They send a signal when they see a change. have a play with them to understand how they work in practice. Oscar Petronovs, I am not necessarily new to redstone, but I am new to, at the moment we're trying to make we're trying to make it look as if tidal power is powering something when we get tidal movement, because we're doing a renewable energy series. Is the seeing part, the red back is the signal. Can I reverse polarity so it works going out too? I think all I would do there is I would just, because I would need, yeah, I mean I could have the tide going out as well. It's just a repeat. It's just reversing the way, yeah. I quite like though that if I got rid of this, the tide has a similar sort of wishy-washy effect. You'll see it just now. So the tide comes in and then washes out, and then comes in and washes out. I quite like that. Oscar, welcome to the stream. I'm going to try an observer block simply because I've never done it before. So this will be my first look. So the little face is the front, right? Which is that side. And the back is the signal. So we can put a comparator to the back. Let me just try it with redstone first. And then what we'll do is we'll put a cauldron in front of it. Did that just observe a change? Is that why it did that? And then fill the cauldron with water? Nope, that didn't work. Yeah, that's what we were trying to do in the first place, was sort of wave energy is as it moves, but I can't really get it. I can't get it to do it because we can get the wave working, but what I can't do, Adam, is get the wave repeating using the code. So if I just move that and that out of the way, and we've also got a forever loop running a test for water at a set location. But if I show you, basically what I've got is we set the first tide mark to 73. And then that's because we want to set a variable that says every time you do 73, you minus by 1, which gives us the moving tide. And then we're going to go back and set it to 73 again because we want the air to do the same. So we're going to do water, air, water, air, water, air. Then what we're going to do is we then pause just so that, I mean, I'm going to take this out for a second. What I'm missing in this piece of code here is how do we get this bit to repeat over and over and over again? And the problem I have is because I've used a variable, if I repeat this bit, it basically takes this 20 and it repeats it 5 times. So I end up destroying my beach. And so I'm not sure how to do that. But anyway, let's go back to observer blocks because you're helping me out here. So let's have a look. The observer can see the water, so it passes in front of the block, so it will, right, okay, so what you're seeing there is, what you're saying is if I take an observer block and put it there, no, sorry, the other way, there, and then run the code, why is the code, there we go. It's going to give me a redstone now. Why did that stop? It's running in a forever loop. It should go back and start again. Why is it stopping? It stops on the second turn and it hasn't been doing that before. Why is it stopping on the second turn? On a forever loop. That's interesting. Let's just take it out and press play. And then put it back in. Whoops. And we'll get our first one. Oh, there we are. Right. Right. Okay. So now what I need to do is, rather than have it light up, so this is great. This is great, both y'all, right? So this is really, really good. So once, rather than it having lighting up a lamp, like flash, 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 what I need it to do is build up something. So my thoughts are, if I just get myself some dirt around here, my thoughts would be that we attach a dispenser to it. Now bear with me, because you're probably thinking, what the? We attach a dispenser to it and we get ourselves some leaves. I've got it. And then when we put the leaves inside here, it's going to dispense the leaves. And those leaves are going to go into a hopper. Are they going in? Why isn't that growing? Are they just floating on top of it? They're just floating on top of it. Okay. Do I need to put the hopper there instead? That's it. And then underneath the hopper, which sadly I've made out of, I've made a water wall. So let me just build a little secluded area away from the wall. So we're technically, again, we're only modeling, so this is not, it doesn't have to be entirely accurate. And then there. And then I'm just gonna get rid of the water that's in here. And then dig it back out again. Right, and then underneath there, I'm going to put a composter. And then the composter is going to give me energy. Yeah, I could have used sponge, I know, yeah. And so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make my bulb. I'm just going to take my bulb up here. And I'm going to run redstone comparator from here. And then I'm going to take redstone and run it to and then we're just going to get, let me just fill this up. So let me go, whoops, let me go to leaves. And we could have multiple. This is just a, it could be that we need, because we're treating the composters as batteries, sort of energy consumption. So they fill up with energy, and we're treating our leaves as that energy source. So each block of leaves is a kilowatt of energy, for example, and we know we need 9 kilowatts of energy to fill one battery. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to put that into the dispenser. And we're just going to go, and then I'm just going to get rid of that and get a composter. And I'm going to stop running the code for the moment. I want to just stop running the code. Okay. Right. Nice. Welcome back, Oscar. So what we're going to do is, I want to just get rid of that. Am I allowed to get rid of that? Nope. Okay, so let's just do that again. Let's get a hopper. Okay, so the idea is this. When I run the code again, we're going to have a tidal system that just continues, because we're looking at tidal movement, as Adam said, rather than the tide is in or the tide is out. And as it passes a detector block, it dispenses a kilowatt of energy. The kilowatt of energy is actually a leaf. So basically the leaves just mark energy. That's all. So one leaf is a kilowatt of energy, for example. That's then going to fill up this battery, this energy system here, which is then attached to a comparator, which gives the house nearby, because we're modelling, energy. So can the house be energized by the movement of the tides using this system? And to do that, we're just going to create the tides. So here we go. Let's just see if this works. So the tide's going to come in, and we should eventually, with enough tidal power, we should end up with a light bulb. And it takes a lot of tidal energy to do this, right? But you could have observer blocks all the way along, and they could be rippling. Ah, now the code stopped, but the lights come on. Why does the code? I don't understand why the code stops. We have it on a forever loop. Is it something to do with the observer block? Boom, Barry Mock. There's my boom. Barry Mock gives me a boom when we succeed at what we said we were going to set out to try and do. And so we've managed to do that. Except what I don't understand is why the code keeps failing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get rid of that. Oh no, it's working again because the tide's working. I'm interested to see if the tide stops when the light goes on though. No, it just keeps going. So we're good. So we did it. We did it. We built a model within which a tidal area could be coded to look as if it had a tide, used an observer block. Thank you, gentlemen. Oh, yeah, it stopped. Why did it stop? That's not full. That's not empty. There's something wrong with the code. There's maybe a little bug with the text speed or something, but it's not. It's set to 20 times. Yeah, but it's in a forever loop. So what? I mean, I might be wrong, Oscar, but what I'm thinking is that this is doing. It's basically saying set it to and do this 20 times, do this 20 times, and then start again. So I would have thought that having that in a forever loop would have meant. I mean, I have a look at that code. I know, Oscar, listen, well, what we do is we teach using Minecraft. We work in over 60 countries worldwide, and we teach principles of everything from, you know, maths and science and history and geography, right through to things like the refugee crisis and gender equality and you know, human rights and all sorts of really cool stuff. And we have thousands of worlds, education worlds. And so my audience today are people like teachers and parents and students and stuff are on with me today. And so what we've done is for the last 3 days, we've done renewable energies. So we've done a hydroelectric power system. We've managed to make wind power and wind turbines animate and work in Minecraft and generate randomized electricity. And we've also made a biomass plant. And today I wanted to look at tidal, but it was all experimental and I had no idea what I was doing. So we just kind of work through it together. And we've got educators in Australia just now with us. We've got educators in Wales. We've got 2 educators in South Africa, and we've got 1 in the Middle East. And they're with us right now. So we're just constantly sort of working through this stuff. So you're very welcome to the stream, Oscar. All help is welcome. We have an educator right now in Seattle who's working with us. So it's all very exciting. It's just whether or not it works. And what I don't know about this code, I mean, I can switch to JavaScript, Oscar, if it helps you. No, this is Education Edition as well. We're not using. We can do Python if you prefer. But if you want to help me, if you want to look at the code and go, hey, you've got this wrong, then by all means. So this is Python, and if I just get rid of my chat, my clear, because I don't really need to worry about clear anymore, which would be my def on chat 2. That is my piece of code there. Love a bit of JavaScript. All right, I'll get back to JavaScript then. Okay. Right, so there it is. That is my piece of code. Let first tide player on just so what is that? So it's on tide. I mean, I don't read this. So let first tide equals 73, and then I don't really follow the rest. All I know is I think it's some in the repeat nested in the forever. Yeah, I agree. I do agree. I've tried a couple of things though. Yes. So yeah, it does. It does. So if I change this to 75 and then just go back to blocks, you'll see that it now says 75 up here. So whatever you, I mean, if I was to do that as SR and then tried to go back to blocks, it would say, we're unable to convert your JavaScript back to blocks. Please have another look. So then I go back to SR and I change that to 73, for example. So yeah, we're able to do that. Good night, Bron. Good night from Australia. Good night to Australia. Have a great sleep. Okay, so the second code is a loop, right? I might need to reset the index for the loop. You mean the... Oh, I don't know why that's there. I'm going to hide that, get rid of that, and get rid of that. Pull that up. So you're saying that what I'm probably going to have to do is reset the index at the very end. So set first tide to 73 again at the end, rather than just at the beginning in there. Let's try that. We might as well. So it's going to work. Yep. We've already got electricity. Let's see if it's, so that's 3 times 4. Let's just go back and see if it. Did that just start again? I think it just started again. I think you did it, Oscar. You did it. So now we can have a perpetual wave system, which over time, as you can see, it's still filling up. You did it, Oscar. You did it. You're the man. And so what we've got is we've got a series of, we can have a series of these, which then means, and if we, so here's the thing, if we do what we did previously with our AND gates, it would mean we could have 10 of these set up, and only once all of them, and were set up, would we get power to our city. And therefore we would have to have enough tidal power to fill up, say, 10 or 12 or 50 or 60 or however many we needed. And so we can decide on the degree. And then what we could do is we could have a randomized system where it just clears out and just replaces the composter in such a way that was like, well, this composter, this power station went down, or this power station needed refuel, you know, like reset or whatever. And you could have a reset system, but which was randomized. So we could have brownouts or blackouts with power. I love it. This is what it's all about. Thanks, Adam. Thanks so much for your time and your help. Bingo. Thank you. We've done it. We've done it. I'm actually quite happy that I was going to do algae as well, and I just don't think we are because I've been on now for, well, there's an hour and 40 minutes. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I have lots of other work to do. But I think this has worked a little treat. This is fantastic. So we've got a code, which thanks to everyone's input is now working. Oscar, you got it working perpetually, which is fantastic. Thanks to Adam's input, we've got observer blocks talking to or recognizing the water, and then we've got a fuel system which just keeps fueling up if we model leaves on kilowatts of energy, and we know that a house needs X kilowatts of energy. Another nice way to look at this is you've only got a set amount of this energy in here. And so what if you knew that every house required 9? How big does a city be before it's no longer achievable, it's no longer attainable with one of these? It can't be supported by one of these. So then you have grids. You could create a city grid system where you would need, tidal would only work in one area because there's not enough tidal energy to support an entire city. So you would then be like, right, we've got tidal over there by the coast in Florida, but further inland, we've got, Kentucky, for example, we're going to need to rely on water, hydropower, or wind. You're 12, Oscar. I do believe it. I do believe it. I work in schools all over the world, and sometimes the biggest problem solvers I work with are the 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12-year-olds. So I absolutely do believe it. Yeah. You know what? I'm almost tempted to build it into an OR gate. To just now have a series of AND gates. No, I'm going to do it in the final world. I'm going to do it. I'll show you what I've been doing. Let me show you. So Oscar, you're telling me that if I put a hopper under the composter, what does that do? What does that do? Tell me what that does. So this is one of the things we're doing is we've got our hydroelectric power dam, but what I'm now doing is I have copied this world, and then what I'm doing is I'm stripping back all of this so that the hydro dam, and I've moved the hydro dam forward, so you'll see here that there's a little gap there and there's quite a lot of sea here and there's a lot of this. But if I show you what I'm actually doing, turn it, oh yeah, and you get bone meal out. Oh, and then it just keeps going, because the problem is it's full and then it stops. So what we need to do is strip the bone meal out into, say, a chest, and then it'll keep going. Yes, I'll go back and do that in a second, but I'll show you what I'm doing for the moment. What I'm then doing is you'll see that and it takes time because I'm using a variety of different programs plus some manual building to do it. But what I'm now doing is I've stripped out the front of the hydro dam, so you'll see there that the hydro dam is now right up against the edge and it's a lot shorter, and the lock is a lot smaller. And then what we're going to do is I'm just basically mounting and flattening all of this out so that we can then have, and I'm going to do a C at the edge, and then this whole toy box is going to be all of the energy systems. So we're going to have a wind farm over here, and we're going to have a biomass factory over here, and we're going to have a tidal at the edge here. And then what that's going to do is that's going to then be connected into a building which is in the middle, and we're going to have AND gates and OR gates that bring all of this energy together into one location to show how a national grid can be powered using a mix. And if any one of the systems goes down, so if you switch off the hydroelectric power dam, the other ones will kick in, and so on. So that's what we're doing. It's just going to take a long lot. It's going to take a few days or weeks at least. It's going to take a couple of weeks, I reckon, to get it fully manageable. And then I'm just going to make it available. Everybody can have it, play with it, do what you want with it. And I think actually I'll be putting it on the marketplace for sure. But that's one of the things we'll be doing. And it's all just like an energy system in a box. That's all it is. We're just going to be able to open up the box and play with the energy system. So I'm going to go back and just, before I finish this, I want to just go back and see what Oscar's been doing. If you haven't already, Oscar, subscribe to my Twitch channel and help me out as we go forward. So I'm going to put a chest. Oops. And then I'm going to put that hopper. Ah, there we are, look. So the energy's gone off until we get more energy. And then I'm going to run the code again. So let's just go into Tidal. Run the code. And what we now have is a system whereby we have a perpetual energy system. Spitting some of that out there. It's waste energy. And every so often it will go out because... And actually, Barry, that's where, when it goes out, because it's been emptied into the chest, is why you need more and more and more of them. We would probably have these set up. We would have another one here, and another one here, and another one here, and another one here. And it means that they would all be working at a slightly different wattage. And as one was being emptied, we would still have the other ones lighting up. So that's good, right? And you see the different systems that we've got. So we've ended up with this system, which feeds this bulb. And then we've got this system, which feeds this bulb. And then we've got this system, which feeds this bulb, which is just a detect for using a piece of code. So we've ended up with 3 tidal systems that work roughly the same. Okay, that's been a really great stream. Well, if I say so myself, I've really enjoyed that. So thanks to everyone who took part. This was way longer than I thought it was going to be, but we've achieved so much with it. And so thanks so much. This has given me more to implement into my renewable lessons pack when I release it. Thanks to everyone who took part. Apologies to Adam if he's still listening. He was supposed to be with us at 12. However, on that note, come back. Come back at 6 o'clock this evening, where Adam Clark is going to be taking the reins, and he's going to be showing us how to use Blockbench to create your own skins and make your own villager skins or your own player skins, or whatever. So have a little think about that. Join us at 6 o'clock. I'll see you there. Bye everyone.